hook it under here.
Up to the top, watch the ball. So now this wrist is going to pressure that left arm as we back down the wave to stay across you.
Yeah,
okay,
beautiful.
to not get pitched out.
All right, Andrew, so let's talk about how the hips work in the downswing, right? And we see a lot of players obsess about trying to open up as much as they possibly can. Thinking that this position where their body's rotating as hard as they can in this fashion is going to produce the greatest amount of power and consistency with their strike. However, a lot of players don't get into a position where they're able to do that.
Correct, correct. Garrett, you've seen the pictures, I've seen the pictures. We look at the top golfers in the world, the top golfers of all time. They come into impact, and I call this a two-cheek impact. They've got some trail side bend, their trail arm's got a little crease to it, but the hips are nicely open, and so we look at a picture like that and go, I've got to get open. And I know there's a ton of golfers out there today, right now, who are working towards getting more open. And I teach a lot of those golfers who are trying to get open. And what I see them doing is, from the top, they're going, okay, I've got to get my body open. And the arms and the club get pitched out too much, too soon. And now their athlete brain says, okay, ooh, that's out too far. I've got to almost pull the pin on getting open, and they start to stand and they stop their rotation. And so they look at a picture of their swing and they go, I'm not open enough.
Time and place, yeah.
Okay. And so it really can create this conflict for a player. But I'd love to see a scenario where we start to get players, take it up to the top, like 2/3 of the way, okay? So now you're at the top of the wave, okay? You're loaded up here beautifully. So now as we start down, I want you to feel like you're gonna back down this wave, okay? Yeah, we're backing into that front side. The arms have had an opportunity to stay deep, okay? The club head has certainly had an opportunity to stay deep, which is what most people struggle with. And now you can go from here, from this point, almost halfway down, you're well into your lead side. The downswing initiated a long time before you even got to the top of the backswing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can go ahead and rotate like that maniac. Okay.
And then what happens, right, is this allows the arms and the hands to get back into a position where they're in front of the chest. It's okay to have them travel a distance away from the chest at the top, but if I'm pinning them up the top and then I just rotate, this lead arm pins too far across the chest, the handle gets thrown out, we're in trouble. So that little recentering and riding the wave that you gave me, that just allows them to unload back in front of the chest, correct?
Correct. Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
And now they're in a position where they have an incentive to be able to rotate. Okay. And that's really what we need, is we need to create a point in our golf swing where we're incentivized to rotate. And you think about it, we get on the way down, we get the arms and the club, if we get them too far in, what are we going to do? Well, we've got to rotate. Okay, this golf ball's on this side of our body. We've got to rotate there. But if I got to get open and we go this way, everything's too far out. We're not going to continue rotating, and that's when we work that way coming into impact.
Yeah, absolutely love that. So for a lot of players, the first point to check for them throughout their golf swing, if they feel like they're in a position where they need to get more open, is go, are they actually creating enough rotation in the backswing and keeping it there for long enough in the downswing, so then they are in a position where they have the ability to naturally get to this open position. It's not a matter of trying to force it as such.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So every high level golfer that we see, they start with their hands in front of their chest, and at the moment of impact, they get them back in front of the chest. And if we're able to create sufficient rotation in the backswing where the hands are staying relatively in front, and then by that same stage in the downswing, as you detailed the feeling of surfing and coasting down onto this lead foot, a lot of pressure by that stage, they unload nicely, we get the shallowing the shaft, and the club moves behind the hands.
And Garrett, let's stress this, okay? They're backing down that wave.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it's up to the top of the wave, and now they're backing down that wave. Okay.
Do that once more for me. So I see that when you're exaggerating this, and you did it intuitively, you lifted up your front heel, right?
Yeah.
And that gives you the feeling that this lead hip can then back down into the ground in that fashion. Love that.
That way. And now I can go.
Yeah.
Now I can go from there. And that's really what it's about, is we've got to give the arms and the club an opportunity to get into a good place where rotation is required.
Yeah.
Rotation is encouraged.
Yeah, totally feel it. So if I'm a player and I get to the top, and let's say, assume all things being equal, I'm just spinning out too much, but I'm in a reasonable
Heels,
position
pulls,
here.
weak fades.
Yeah, what would you suggest, a little drill exercise, that from this transition movement here, outside of the feel, like a reference of what they should be working on to achieve this coasting feel that we're
Set up, hold the club just in your left hand for me. Okay, I want you to take your right hand, hook it under here, that way for me. Okay, up to the top, watch the ball. Okay, so now this wrist is going to pressure that left arm as we back down the wave to stay across you.
Yeah,
Okay,
beautiful.
to not get pitched out.
Yeah. And straight away by doing so, that incentivizes my chest to stay further back. I can
Yes.
still feel that I'm recentering and applying a lot of pressure down onto this lead foot, which then is going to have the equal and opposite effect of pushing me around the corner and allowing that whip effect at the moment of impact. So great little trail hand in front of the lead hand. Feeling back, I like one-handed drills because it also encourages you to set and load the club properly, otherwise it feels too heavy. And then from there in that transition, almost intuitively what's
Back
going
down.
to happen
Yeah.
is as I'm feeling that pressure there, you can see this sequence is going to put me in such a spot where if I just continue to turn through the ball, well, I'm going to get rotated and the
Yes.
hips are going to move it in effect.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Anything you would add there finally before we try it out at impact?
I think let's understand that in order to get open, we've got to get the arms in the club in a good spot in the early downswing, because now we have a reason to rotate.
Yeah.
If you're just rotating for a look, I think you might run into trouble.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to map out one more feeling from here, swinging to the top, feeling that pressure and that coasting down. Almost feel like I'm falling downhill in transition. Two hands on, let's recreate it. I'll tell you what, that
Peachy.
felt great. Love it.
Yeah, good job, Pod. Thanks.
Awesome.